Alright, so here we are with yet another video in the I wish someone had made this video for me series on this generator. It's an Onan Marquis 7000, and today I'm going to be changing the starter. So wanted to show the location, how to get to that, the nuts and bolts of it, and some of the frustrations in trying to replace it. It's not going to be that difficult, but just good to know ahead of time. Okay, so on mine, the starter is in a fairly accessible location. It's wide open above it, so it can come out that way. And at least I can get in on the end with my hand and wrenches and stuff. So what we've got is a 9/16 bolt on the bottom and on the top. And then on the stud here where the 12-volt power goes, it's a 7/16 nut holding that on. I've already taken that off with just a 7/16 wrench. And then for my 9/16, I was able to just put together some stuff for my Milwaukee Impact. 9/16 with my 3/8 adapter. I'm using the small extension on it when I'm undoing the top bolt. I didn't need the small extension on the bottom one, but I did need to use this 6-inch extension, and that allows me to use the impact on the bottom and the top. So the difficult thing about these is that on the back side of these bolts there's a nut, and let me get my camera around where you can see that. So there it is. You can see there's a nut that just kind of sits in a little, I guess well is the term for it. But the problem is trying to get that bolt in without knocking that nut down is super frustrating. So what I would suggest, and I'm going to try it, I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to suggest it anyway, is putting a piece of painter's tape across that with the nut in place, and then trying to thread that bolt in, and hopefully that will stop it from falling down. If it does fall down, it's going to end up behind this casing, and that's going to be super frustrating to get out. So just take your time with it, try the painter's tape thing, and of course using an extension you can probably kind of get those bolts started like hand threaded in, and then you can tighten them up using an impact or a socket wrench and extension. Yeah, and I guess I should also say from a safety perspective, remove your rings, remove your watch, and remove your power. So disconnect your RV from its shore power, and also hit the 12-volt disconnect switch, just so there's no surprises as you're working on this. Alright, so that literally just took like 2 minutes to pop this out. This one is pretty shot. Here's my new one off Amazon, 50 bucks or something like that. And so hopefully getting it back in there will be just as easy, although I'm kind of doubtful. Okay, so here is where the fun begins. So this works for me, but I know it's not going to work for a lot of people. To get the nut on this bottom one, to actually get it back up in that well, you have two options. One is to reach up through here, which I'm able to do, and sit it in this well. But I know not everybody is going to be able to get their hand up in there. The other option is to come on the back side here through this opening with a swivel. I can't even think of the proper term. This guy. And get that up and hold it in place while you tighten that down. I hope that it's easy for you to get your hand in and just hold it in place, and then you can use your other hand to get the starter in place. But having a third hand in to hold the starter in while you try to thread that bolt would be super helpful. But again, this is where I think the blue painter's tape on the back of that would probably come in handy. Okay, so that wasn't super difficult. Again, on the bottom, was able to hold that nut in and kind of thread it in with my thumb while I held the nut in place, and I held the starter with my left hand. And then Ended up kind of doing the same on the top. Was able to hold this nut in place while I threaded the other bolt in with my left hand. Again, I sure hope it's as accessible on yours as it is on mine. All right, I messed up, but it turned out not to be as bad as I thought it was. I accidentally left my impact on reverse when I went to tighten the top bolt, and the nut fell down. And I searched for a minute, but it had just fallen right inside this ledge and was able to find it. But I thought, oh man, I have screwed up. But wasn't that bad. But so this is in, it's tightened up. I'm gonna go turn everything back on, plug everything back up, and give it a shot. Right. So before I changed the starter, I was making a pretty bad screeching sound and would not start. Let's see what happens. Well, fix that issue where it's not turning over. Aha! Great success.